Connor Bedard is going to go first overall in the 2023 NHL draft with the Chicago Blackhawks, but afterwards is where things get really interesting. Now, the Ducks, heading into the 2023 NHL Draft Lottery, finished with the best odds and the best chances of getting first overall, and unfortunately for them, they would not end up getting it with Chicago rising up 2 spots, but for the Ducks, it's not all bad. Sure, this is the Connor Bedard draft, but there's still some amazing talent after first place, and especially in that top 4, top 5, there's bona fide elite talents here and players that can be superstars, and Anaheim is in a unique position where they have some great prospects already, and this piece could be potentially the final piece to the puzzle. So even though the Ducks won't get the best prospect since Connor McDavid back in 2015, they might get the best second overall pick since Jack Eichel in 2015. Now, there's obviously the potential for both Adam Fantilli and Leo Carlsson to rise up to those ranks, but to me, only one of the players between the two has the best chances at making that happen, and I'll explain why. But let's first compare the players at hand here. First, we got Adam Fantilli, who, even though he's on the older side of things, has been tearing things up with Michigan in the NCAA this year. As a pure centerman, 6'2", 187 pounds, is ranked second by most people's lists, and there's good reasons why. You see in the NCAA this year, Michigan, he was the man. Hobey Baker winner, 65 points in 36 games, 30 goals as well. In the World Juniors, 5 points in 7 games, got a huge goal in that last couple games, and even though he wasn't amazing compared to Bedard, I still think for a draft eligible, he was pretty fine there, especially considering his role on the fourth line for the most part. But Fantilli, as a natural centerman, is going to be extremely gifted all the way through. Then you got Leo Carlsson, who, yes, there has been some points where he's been a winger. That was mostly in the World Juniors that we saw. He's a December birth date at age 18, 6'3", 194 pounds. And you can see this year in the SHL and the World Juniors, just very solid overall. 25 points in 44 SHL games. Started off amazing there, kind of cooled off a little bit. But in the playoffs, which is most important and really interesting, he got 9 points in 13 games. So even though his regular season was great and still solid, the playoffs, he elevated to a different level. And in the World Juniors, he was pretty solid, 6 points in 7 games for Sweden, and looked pretty consistent, even if he didn't have amazing moments like a Connor Bedard did. And it's one of those things that might actually be surprising, but I think in terms of who's more likely to be a pure centerman and a first-line center at the next level in every single way, it might actually be Adam Fantilli. And even though Leo Carlsson has kind of been forced to the wing, I still don't think it's too much cause for concern. I still think he can be a first-line center at the next level, but there might be some growing pains there that Fantilli might not have. Now, let's also go through these players and see what the strengths and weaknesses might provide and see what we can do comparing each other. And there's going to be 5 different categories here that I'm going to look at when it comes to both these players. You got skating, decision-making, playmaking, shooting, and physical play. And let's start off with that skating, that ever-important skating mark. And to me, with Adam Fantilli, we'll start off there. I'm going to give him a 4 out of 5. Now, to me, when it comes to Fantilli, there's a lot to like there. He has really just solid speed at 6'2", and the size that he commands doesn't slow him down whatsoever. He's quick on pucks, able to turn over possession, able to get through defensemen and really create havoc on the forecheck. He's a player that can bring so much chaos with his speed, and just how underrated it is, you kind of don't notice him even if he is 6'2", and that kind of separation speed will really be important at the next level. As for Leo Carlsson, this has been a subject that's been hotly contested. Is his skating going to be good enough? Is it really a bad mark against him? And to me, I think it's pretty average. I give him a 3 out of 5 in this aspect because there is parts of his skating that I think are underrated. The power that he has in his skates is underrated. He's a player that has a lot of power there and isn't going to be knocked off pucks easily. He's a guy that can get within the corners and make sure that he can really power skate past guys. But the problem is that acceleration can be an inconsistency. There are times where you want to see more of him, times where you want to see more separation speed, and if there is anything that I think kind of snags Carlsson to the next level, it is that separation speed. He doesn't have quite enough of it, especially even strength, and I think right now that would be the biggest thing that could hold Leo Carlsson back from being a franchise face, perhaps. Then going on to the decision making, and this is one that I think with Adam Fantilli, it's pretty interesting because there are times where he'll just blow me away by just the quick, sharp moves that he makes and the way he's able to deke around opponents and able to cycle around the offensive zone. And there's a lot to like there. There are times, though, where I think his vision can be something that kind of holds him back. There can be times where there might be open lanes that he isn't able to quickly see, but for the most part, I think his decision making is quite solid, and especially in transition. He's one of the most efficient players out there and uses it in such a good way. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. Not elite, but very, very good. As for Leo Carlsson, the decision-making might be the best part of his game, honestly. The way he's able to read the ice, the way he's able to work off his teammates, and just see the subtleties in everybody's game. He's able to work off opponents' weaknesses, especially sharply, and in the neutral zone, he's a player that loves to get the puck back, loves to keep it within his stick, and loves to keep it away. But he's the type of player that can use his decision-making in a great way, not even just on offense, but on defense. And I think that really leads to a lot of overall play in his game that you might not see from other prospects in this draft. Leo Carlsson has that in droves, but the smarts and the quickness that he's able to use his decision making puts it at a good level. I'm going to give it a 4.5 out of 5. But now let's move on to the playmaking side of things, and we'll start with Fantilli here. This one's kind of interesting for me because, again, like the decision-making, I can see some absolutely brilliant moments out of him, but there can be some inconsistency there. There can be times where he can be a little bit selfish and be a little bit too much in the play-driving aspect, but he's a player that still has so much talent with the way he's able to get pucks to a teammate sticks incredibly quickly. And again, there can be times where that vision does impede him, but when he's able to see that sharp read, when he's able to make a pass, he'll make that pass. And the sauce is just brilliant. What he's able to do there is fantastic. And if you need a pass to happen, especially in the offensive zone, especially in the cycle, Fantilli will make it happen. It's a 4 out of 5. It could be better, but still pretty good. As for Leo Carlsson, this is another aspect of his game that I do like a lot, and the way he's able to use his deception playmaking-wise is just fantastic. He has a fantastic pass. He has an unbelievable ability to connect on passes, but it's also the way he uses his body to open up passes. That's one of the biggest things that can separate Carlsson from the pack, is that he ends up bringing players into him and kind of opening his teammates up because of it. He's able to use that so well, and you see that on so many different goals, but that's the type of playmaking that I think Carlsson will succeed a ton with at the next level, and that's something that I think will be great for him. A 4.5 out of 5, I think, is really respectable. Now on to the shooting, and this might be one of the biggest things that's different between these two prospects. And with Adam Fantilli first and foremost, I just absolutely love the confidence that he has in his shot. Even if it doesn't go in, he's the type of player that won't pass just for the sake of passing it to keep play going. No, if it's on his stick and he has the opportunity to shoot it, he's gonna rip it. And most of the time, it does end up working out. And I think what's also important for Fantilli is the consistency at which he's getting in those prime opportunities and those prime slot chances. There are times where he can be a little bit hasty shooting around the perimeter, but when he is on his game, when he's at his best, he's getting right to the net. He's making sure that it gets as much chaos as possible and using that skating, like we mentioned, to get in those greasy areas. And I think when it comes to his shot, the way he's able to use it in close is just incredible. To me, it's one of his best attributes, and a 4.5 out of 5 for Fantilli. Now, on the flip side, with Leo Carlsson, this might be one of his more disappointing attributes. It's not like his shot is bad or anything. It's just something where I think it's kind of the opposite of Fantilli. I think he lacks a lot of confidence in it. There might be times where he'll score goals, but it usually won't be as much because of his shot. And of course, that's not everything. There will be times where his shot can definitely thrive, but I do think he's much more of a pass-first type of player, which can create some problems where overpassing might come into play. And that could get him in trouble at the next level, kind of like maybe even if a Capo Caco situation right now of him where he's not able to shoot the puck or have any confidence in it. That's kind of what I'm seeing in Leo Carlsson right now. Even though he has a lot of talent there, using that shot, being more comfortable in that shot, and not overpassing is something that he's going to have to learn. So I'm going to give Carlsson a 3.5 out of 5. Still not the worst, but again, I want to see him use that way more. And then going on to the physical play, and this is something that you might not expect me to have the opinion that I have on it. Of course, with Adam Fantilli being 6'2", Leo Carlsson being 6'3", you'd probably assume that Leo Carlsson would be the better physical player, but I don't quite agree with that. I think Carlsson maybe has the tools to be a better physical player, but we don't quite see that as much. And this might be the area of Carlsson's game where there's the most untapped potential, because even though he's gigantic at 6'3", has so much power on his skates, he doesn't quite get into the dirty areas as much as you'd like. He doesn't quite overpower players with his physical play, with body checks and all these big hits. He can use them when he's skating and protecting the puck, but not so much when he needs to get the puck back. And that can be something to work on with Leo Carlsson that with Fantilli is just not quite there. With Fantilli, the drive, the ability to get pucks out of opposition, the ability to make hits, the ability to fight when he needs to. We saw that in the NCAA. He got a Gordie Howe hat trick. Absolute stud stuff. But when we've seen Adam Fantilli at his best, it's using that physical play in all three zones, and especially in the neutral zone. Getting rid of opponents with the body is such a big part of his game. With Leo Carlsson, you'd think that would also be the case, but you just don't see that as consistently. And again, that will be something that will be a learning curve, but I mean, could also kind of be an adjustment into the NHL, since of course it is so much more physical and will demand so much more out of Leo Carlsson. With Adam Fantilli, I don't think those adjustments will really need to be made. He's already perfectly fit for the NHL system. Giving the physical play a 4.5 out of 5 for Fantilli and a 3.5 out of 5 for Leo Carlsson. So looking at everything, when we look at Fantilli, there was no grades that went below a 4 out of 5. With Leo Carlsson, there was a 3 out of 5, and there was a couple of 3.5s out of 5. And I do as well need to stress and mention that with Leo Carlsson, I think some of those attributes, especially the physical play, are going to get better as time gets on. And I think that will be something that will improve. But there's also parts of the game where skating comes into play, where that's one of the hardest things to continue to improve on, especially once you hit that next level. With Adam Fantilli, those problems aren't quite there right now that Leo Carlsson will likely have. And to me, I think we're going to also see Leo Carlsson maybe take more time to get to the NHL level and be a lot more of a project than Adam Fantilli can be. I still think Leo Carlsson probably only needs one more year outside of the NHL, but with Adam Fantilli, even if he might not play in the NHL next year, I don't think he needs to play anywhere else. I mean, any other season outside of it is just extra seasoning on top of his game. With Leo Carlsson, though, I think that extra year will be needed for him. So in terms of who I would end up picking second overall, I would go Adam Fantilli just because there's more dynamic play in him, and I just feel like the skating is a little bit better, the shot is a little bit better, and considering what Anaheim has in their prospect pool with all the defensemen they have that are going to be such amazing playmakers in the next level, I feel like for Anaheim, this will be a situation where they go for the better shooter, the better scorer in the end. And you could go for a Matvei Michkov if you want to do it, but we haven't really heard too much about that, any interest on the Ducks for that whatsoever, and it comes down to these two guys. And to me, if I'm predicting it right now, who the Ducks will end up taking, even though it's not set in stone by any means, and Leo Carlsson could definitely still be the pick, Adam Fantilli just feels more of what the Ducks want, more of their style. I think that'll pay dividends at the draft table. They're going to end up selecting Adam Fantilli second overall. Even though I'm not fully confident in it, I'm pretty confident in it. And you also, again, just go back to who the Ducks have drafted. They've gone for so much moxie, so much swagger, so much personality in their draft picks with Zegras, with McTavish, with Zellweger, and with Leo Carlsson. I mean, again, it's not a bad thing that he doesn't quite have as much as Fantilli does, but Fantilli is an absolute dog sometimes. Like, the dude is just an absolute rebel whenever he wants to be, and I feel like the Ducks would appreciate that maybe more so than other teams. That swagger and that confidence, but also the play to back it up. And to me, I think Adam Fantilli should be the pick for the Ducks, and I think he will be the pick for the Ducks. And if I had to go for him at second overall, I'd be a pretty happy camper. I can't lie. And of course, hit that subscribe button if you guys are new and enjoyed the video. Hit that like button as well, and comment down below all your thoughts. Share the video with all the hockey fans you guys know online, and all the hockey fans, Ducks fans, and 2023 draft fans out there. And click on this card for all my 2023 draft content right on playlist. My name is Nathan, and I hope you have a fantastic day. Goodbye.